Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
Progress has stopped.
Our policies haven't kept pace.
We believe that women need a fair shot to get equal pay for equal work.
$3 million, the number of women in the U.S. workforce.
99.6, the percentage of jobs where men earn more than women.
89 cents, how much a woman makes to every man's dollar.
$1 million, the earnings a woman would lose over a lifetime when compared to a man's salary.
59, the supposed year where women will finally earn as much as men.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Chanel.
And I'm Princess.
And we are here to discuss the issues facing our nation today involving gender, equity, and the workforce.
Or rather, lack thereof.
As long as women have been in the workforce, they have been paid and treated unequally to men.
Multiple legislations have been passed to end gender equality in the workforce.
So today, we are here to ask you, how equal is equal?
As World War II began and troops were sent out, women started to enter the public work sector, replacing men who had gone off to war. Since women started to play a major part in the workforce, it was no surprise that concerns over the lack of money women were paid compared to men arose. In 1945, the Equal Pay Act was introduced to Congress. The act prohibited discrimination based on gender and stated men and women would get paid equally for comparable work. Labor activist and head of the Women's Bureau in the Department of Labor, Ether Pendragon, urged President Kennedy to take action on gender equality. Eventually, the bill was officially signed on June 10, 1963, by President John F. Kennedy.
Fast forward 25 years later, and gender inequity is still raging on. In most contracts employees sign, there is a clause included stating that they may not discuss their pay with other coworkers. This was the contract that Lily Ledbetter signed in 1979 when she was hired to be the area and shift manager for a local Goodyear plant. In 1998, after having worked there 19 years, Lily received an anonymous letter documenting the salaries of her and 3 other male coworkers with the same position. Where she made $3,700 a month, her counterparts made anywhere ranging from $4,200 to $5,200 a month. Ledbetter took to courts. The local courts ruled in favor of her, but Goodyear appealed to the U.S. Court of Appeals, and they ruled in their favor. Goodyear won by arguing under the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which states employees cannot challenge consistent pay discrimination 180 days after it occurred. Ledbetter's appeals made it all the way to the Supreme Court, but she lost to a 5-4 decision when the courts ruled that Title VII made her claims invalid. Skip to 2009 and the Lilly Ledbetter Act had passed. The act permitted each discriminatory paycheck to reset the 180-day limit to file a claim. 2 years later, the act became the first law signed by President Barack Obama.
Different states have different laws, and so it's some legislation that needs to be in place that would require, you know, that people be paid equally for the work that they do.
Many pieces of legislation have been passed over the last century to ensure the gap would be eliminated, but much of this legislation has not been passed, such as the Paycheck Fairness Act. It had been introduced to Congress 4 times, in 2009 to 2010, 2011, 2014, and recently in 2015. This bill would amend the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 and strengthen the Equal Pay Act of 1963. It dealt with the loopholes that resided in the Fair Labor Standards Act by prohibiting retaliation if employees talk about their salaries with other coworkers, leave employer liable to civil lawsuits, and improve ways to collect data on the wage gap. Still, every time this bill has passed through Congress, it has never gotten past introduction.
Along with the Paycheck Fairness Act, the Equal Rights Amendment is a controversial piece of legislation that has also been through Congress multiple times. Introduced in 1923, ERA did not get much support at this time, and with no one backing it, it became buried in committee. The amendment was presented at every congressional hearing from 1923 to 1970. In the early 1970s, women demanded the Equal Rights Amendment be discharged from committee. The amendment, after 50 years, began to show major movement in Congress. March 22, 1972, the amendment passed House of Representatives and Senate and began the ratification process. The amendment, like many before it, received much support and was ratified by 22 states in the first year. But as time went on, progress with the amendment slowed. After 10 years, the ratification process expired, and the amendment died just 3 shy of having 3/4 of the states ratify it. Still, today, the Equal Rights Amendment lives on, and many believe it would lead to the elimination of the gender wage gap by banning denial of equal rights and therefore equal pay.
Just like in the 70s, they faced opposition even from women themselves. Phyllis S., a conservative opposer of the ERA, states the ERA is a waste of time. Most Americans disagree with her. Statistics show that 70% of Americans believe we have equal rights amendments in the Constitution, and 90% say that there should be one.
Statistics show that not only are women victims of lower pay wage, but particularly women of minority races. African Americans earn only 63 cents to a white man's dollar, where Native Americans earn 59 cents, and Hispanics and Latinos only earn 54 cents. If legislation was passed, this would have a huge benefits for women of minority races. Equalization of pay would also improve the conditions of families living under the poverty line. The women in these families would be able to contribute more with a higher wage.
I'm a woman. I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
I am a woman.
I am a woman.
I am a woman.
I'm a woman.
You weren't even here. I am a woman.
I'm a woman. Yeah.
Go!